Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. I have a whole lot of holes to drill, and I like to drill them consistent depth. And I like using my auger bits. So I'm going to set up my Stanley number 49 depth stop and show you how I drilled all these holes. Now, these are all done, but I took a picture of it before I did them. This is the first time I've used this Stanley number 49 bit gauge, and it's kind of a cool little thing. I picked it up from pennies, and I knew immediately what it was when I saw it sitting on the shelf in the antique store. And I thought, they don't know what they got. So I got it. Came in the box, which is another special thing. The bit goes up into the body of the gauge like this, and then you tighten up the wing nuts evenly, not all on one side like I just did. You want it so that the lands on the drill bit touch on these surfaces here. That's what actually centers it. And it should sit just about like that. Now, in order to get the depth set right, I have this hole drilled to the depth that I want. Set the depth gauge down in there. Get the drill bit spun down in so it's actually seated at the bottom. And I set my depth gauge so it's touching the surface. Tighten up the wing nuts, and I'm good to go. Now, every time I drill with this thing, it's going to go down this far and it won't go any further. It'll actually strip out it'll tear this out of the wood down there and it'll stop drilling. So I cannot go too far. I like to just go down and touch this so that I don't strip that hole out, because you might want to have that later. So let's try it. You put the bit into the chuck so that it sits with the two corners into those notches in the chuck jaws. That way it's going to grip solidly. You can put it in this way and it'll work, but it doesn't work as well. Putting it in like that means it just fits in there nice and snug, and then the jaws come out and grab the shank, and it's in there nice and solid. Then I set the screw tip on the crossed lines, and I just crank the handle. A good sharp drill bit will pull itself in. I shouldn't have to really push on it at all. I see people leaning into the drill bit, trying to force it down in. That tells me that their drill bit isn't sharp or hasn't been sharpened correctly. You can have sharp edges and it still won't cut. I go through that pretty much in depth in my how to sharpen an auger bit. I can only use this depth stop on the top because it's too big to fit down in these holes here. It rubs against the wall. But it's nice if you want to drill into something and have a consistent depth on a hole. This is just treated pine. It's old scrub lumber that I had left over from another project. So it's soft as butter. I have to be careful that it doesn't splinter out on me. And there, that's how you use a Stanley number 49 bit gauge. I'm sure other people have got different ways of doing it. Quite likely better ways. But that's the way I do it. If you find one, and it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, then I would suggest if you like using auger bits, get it. And that's how you drill holes using a Stanley number 49 bit gauge. Pretty cool little thing. Glad I ran across it. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching. This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the US or 16 in the European Union, without the express written permission of the parents or legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.